It's Friday, August 27th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. A year-long study has revealed that a significant number of Barbadians are suffering from serious anxiety and sleeping disorders directly linked to fears of being severely infected by COVID-19. The research was conducted between June 2020 and June 2021 by occupational psychologist Jolene King and Professor of Management and Organizational Behavior at the University of the West Indies Cavell campus, Dwayne Devonish. Our Emmanuel Joseph tells us more about the study entitled An Exploratory Study of Mental Health Challenges, Perceptions of the COVID-19 Pandemic, and Mental Health.
About 70% of the 450 respondents indicated moderate to severe levels of anxiety or insomnia based on the four dimensions of poor mental health assessed. The findings of the study also reveal that slightly more than half of the sample size, that's 56%, reported moderate to severe physical symptoms associated with poor mental health, whereas 46% of participants complained of moderate to severe signs of serious depression. The authors of the study said social dysfunction was the least problematic in a relative sense, but that it was a major concern for a fifth of the sample, that's 21%. King and Devonish also compared the mental health status of respondents across various demographics. Participants in the youngest age group, that's 18 to 34, reported higher levels of somatic symptoms, anxiety or insomnia and social dysfunction compared to those in the older age groups. The researchers found that unemployed Barbadians revealed a higher level of anxiety or insomnia and social dysfunction than full-time employed residents and retirees. It was discovered that retired Barbadians were significantly lower in their levels of anxiety or sleeping disorders and social dysfunction when compared to all other employment categories, including employed and unemployed. Overall, retired persons, who were generally the older respondents, were least affected by mental health challenges, whereas unemployed people were the most affected by the same challenges. Now, when it came to perceptions of the virus and mental health, the results categorically indicated that respondents who perceived a COVID-19 infection as more severe if they themselves were infected reported greater somatic symptoms, anxiety or insomnia and social dysfunction compared to those who perceived that it would be a less severe infection. The researchers said they aim to extend the study beyond Barbados into the wider Caribbean region. Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Health officials will begin vaccinating children ages 12 to 18 against COVID-19 from today with the Pfizer vaccine. And President of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, Dr. Linda Williams, is urging parents to give their children the chance of fighting the viral illness by being vaccinated.
My advice to parents is to remember that children do get COVID and that they do get complications from COVID. And especially with this Delta variant, we're seeing that more and more. And, we have protected our children through vaccination from all of the other vaccine-preventable illnesses. And therefore, we should protect them from this too. Give your children the best chance to fight against this new coronavirus that you can possibly give them, just as you gave them the best chance to get all the other vaccine-preventable illnesses in our society.
The rollout, according to officials, will be done in phases, with the target groups being special needs students, sixth form students, and those in the age category who attend tertiary institutions. Dr. Williams explained what parents who decide to get their children inoculated should expect.
I think most parents would have known what getting a child vaccinated is like, even when they're baby. What you get is the fever and so on, and that's a sign in the initial period that your immune system is working. So having a fever after having a vaccination is not an unusual thing, nor is it a strange thing, nor is it an unexpected thing. So fever, the sore arm, sometimes you get some swelling of lymph nodes, which are little, what they just call a Watson kernel, under the arm. But all of these things are temporary, and they go away in a couple of days. Like get a headache. All of them can be managed with lots of fluids and paracetamol. And usually, the children do quite well.
The Barbados Alliance to End Homelessness is racing against time to purchase the building it occupies as its base in Bridgetown. The organization, which has been occupying its current Spy Street, the city location, since November 2019, was given a 3-year time frame in which to come up with the funds to purchase the property. The selling price was slashed from $2.4 million to $1 million. President Kima Safri said the organization is now focusing heavily on its I Pledge campaign in a bid to raise the funds.
Took over the building in 2019. The agreement with us, with the bank, was the building will be off the market for 3 years. The building is at a price tag of $1 million, and we had an agreement that we would purchase the building within that 3-year span. Obviously, with COVID starting just in 2020, up to now, it's obviously our focus had to change to deal with our clients. We were in lockdown most of the time, and when the lockdown came, we were dealing with all the clients that were on the streets as well. So it became harder to focus on funding when you had to deal with clients. We've now, probably because it's a little bit more easier now, the clients are still on high, but in terms of not being on lockdown and so much other things we don't have to focus on, we've decided to just start the I Pledge campaign, which is geared at purchasing the building, because once next year comes, then the building goes back on the market, and we've seen buildings in Bridgetown starting to take ownership, and our building is pretty big, and it's a standalone building. We don't want it to be snatched up as it goes back on the market for the $1 million. So our campaign now is geared at that, which we are trying to find 2,000 people to give $500, but they can give it over a 5-month period, rather than one time if they can't afford it. So that is our aim, because
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Regional news now. Unvaccinated staff attached to the Georgetown Hospital in Guyana were reportedly barred from entering the compound on Thursday. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana reports.
The Georgetown Hospital is the country's largest hospital and health emergency center. In a memo to staffers earlier this week, the management of the hospital informed them that with effect from today, all staffers must show proof of being vaccinated against COVID-19 or provide a negative COVID-19 test result to be allowed access to their jobs. Persons seeking non-emergency services at the hospital and visitors are also expected to provide proof of vaccination. The move by the Georgetown Hospital's management comes at the end of a 2-week delay in the enforcement of the measure announced by the government, which calls on health workers and public transportation operators to be vaccinated against the virus. The government's policy has been met with criticism from several groups and citizens across the country who believe that they should not be forced or coerced into taking the vaccine.
And finally, President Joe Biden has reacted to the Kabul attack that resulted in the deaths of 13 U.S. service members and others being injured. More from CBS News.
A somber President Biden called the fallen troops heroes who died in the service of an historic airlift.
We have some sense, like many of you do, what the families of these brave heroes are feeling today. You get this feeling like you're being sucked into a black hole in the middle of your chest. There's no way out.
The president said he has ordered the Pentagon to draw up plans to strike back at the ISIS offshoot that claimed responsibility for the bombing.
For those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
The attack came just 5 days before the troops were set to pull out entirely. The president and his top aides had been warning for days that an attack like this might happen.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.